Here I have got my T-Rex 500 model helicopter from Align. I bought it as a kit and built it all together a couple of years back. Because of my work and studies, where I also deal with helicopters, quite larger ones, I did not have time to fly it a lot, but in the recent weeks I came back to it and started flying again. Or I never gave up flying completely. It's just that recently I started flying more often. Good. I also have got a very nice Futaba radio controller. They've paired with the helicopter. I will be probably talking about the technical aspects later. Just some very brief overview of the helicopter. So if you're familiar with how helicopters work, they're operated using an electric motor here. It could also be it could also have been a combustion engine, but in this case I have an electric motor which is controlled by this ESC, the electronic motor controller, and we've got a lithium polymer battery, quite large one. This motor rotates this little gearbox, or this gear, which translates the higher RPM of the motor to a quite lower one to operate the main rotor. The lateral or the cyclic movement of the helicopter is controlled using this thrust plate. I'm not sure how much of that you can see in the video because I'm shooting this in a GoPro. I will be talking about the details of the controlling and building a helicopter later. You can enjoy flying this helicopter only if it's controlled. I have a little flight controller here, which mainly consists of gyroscopes to measure the movement of a helicopter around each of the body fixed axis of the machine, and use that measured signal to send correction control commands to make the helicopter a bit more stable. Then we have got the tail rotor, which works as a counter torque for the main rotor, because if we had not that, the helicopter would be rotating around itself. I can go into full detail. Basically, I'm doing my PhD in the field of helicopter flight dynamics and control, so I can talk about helicopters for quite a while. But today, since I decided to come back to my hobby with a little bit more, or decided to dedicate a bit more time to my hobby, I thought maybe it's time to also upgrade my helicopter. So let's say if this video is well received, and if I can see a significant increase in my still quite low subscription number, then I will invest in the biggest T-Rex helicopter currently on the market. I guess T-Rex 750 or so, if I'm not mistaken. I will build that. I will share the whole process of building it with you, and then we will also be flying it together. So I can make it. I will make it as good as possible. Hello again. Back in the field, I announced that I will be building a 700 plus size model helicopter, T-Rex 700 or plus. If I get enough subscribers on this channel, I will definitely invest in a huge model helicopter, since it's been my childhood dream, and there is almost no way I wanna let it get away from my hands. It will most likely be a combustion engine helicopter, because I like model size cute little combustion engines, nitro engines. But to show my good faith and to prove my point and show you that I am really serious about this stuff, I have something else here. I have got a Blade 230 that I'm going to unbox and share my experience with you. I will be charging the helicopter and we will fly it afterwards. Let's see what's inside the box though at first, and I would also give you my first impressions about the build quality of the helicopter, what comes in the box, so on and so forth. So it's a smaller size helicopter than the one that you've seen with me in the field. It's the Blade 230 from Blade or Horizon Hobby, I guess, is the parent company. It's got an electric motor and a full swash plate. What is yeah, the swash plate is built of metal. It's a flybarless helicopter. I am not sure what the blades are made of though. They look like being made of plastic, unlike the self-made TRX 500 that I showed you before, which was carbon fiber glue. One other thing that is hitting me by just looking at the helicopter, something that is obvious, is that the main rotor and the tail rotor has a different motor, different brushless motor from what I see than the main rotor. It means that the tail rotor has a fixed pitch propeller, which has helped probably to drive the cost of making this machine a bit lower, but makes it a bit, in my opinion, less original compared to the helicopters that have a collective pitch back there at the tail rotor. But the build quality overall looks to be fine, although this landing gear is completely made of plastic, and I'm not sure how many crashes it will, or how many crashes, definitely none, but how many hard landings it will survive. Good, so this one is an RTF version, ready to fly basically. You just can plug in a battery and go flying. The battery is also much less beefy than the one I have on the T-Rex. Is 850 milliampere hours battery, 11.1 volts, and has 3 cells. So yeah, it looks small and cute, but yes, certainly matching the helicopter. I will let you know later how long I can fly on one battery charge. So stickers, cable harness, and even a little screwdriver that is coming with the helicopter. So since it's an RTF version, I will also probably need the AA batteries and for the transmitter, and they are also delivered in the box. What do we have here inside? So Horizon Hobby is a pretty famous brand, so I am fairly confident that I will be able to get spare parts in case I crash this helicopter. So yeah, this looks like the LiPo charger. Kind of cool because it looks like it's a USB charger. Nice. I've never had one of these before. A battery cable dongle that they will probably need to connect the battery to the charger versus the helicopter. Then comes the last piece in the box, namely the transmitter. So welcome to the inaugural flight field, which literally feels like a sweatbox today. It's really hot and super humid. It's good for the battery and for the helicopter, but not for me certainly, and it's full of insects. The helicopter has, if I'm not mistaken, 3 different flight modes. The first one is the easiest one, where the attitude angles of the helicopter are limited, and that's what I'm going to start flying in. It's the most stable and the easiest to fly. So, checking the controls, everything looks fine, and there we go, or off we go. This also has a panic button that you can apply whenever you're panicked and you think you're losing control. This will bring the helicopter in a stable mode. So let's hear noise. Great. Noise sounds great, not as realistic as my T-Rex, but it does look fine, and it's super stable at the moment. I can feel a little bit of water jattering, but that's still totally acceptable. So let's. Oh, and you hear the you could totally hear the tail propeller, the tail rotor, because it's constantly changing its RPM to control the helicopter. And it's surrounded by flies. Super controllable. Nice landing over here. And one more thing I love about this helicopter, which makes it pretty handy, is that because indeed the tail rotor has three blades, the blades can be shorter, and you have a lot more ground clearance from the bottom of the tail, so that you can just land in the grass without the tail rotor touching the grass.